So I've been asked to spend some time discussing Islamic insurance. So inshallah today the topic will be Islamic insurance. So Umar ibn Khattab radhiyallahu anhu is reported to have said, if a person pays their zakat, no calamity will ever afflict their wealth. They won't experience any major calamities or major problems with their wealth. So there are multiple benefits of giving zakat, but this is one of them. And I will share one of the more unique experiences I've had in life. In Chicago, there was an institute called Sacred Learning. A very, very interesting organization. They were teaching the basics of Islam to people all over America. And once a year, they would have a student meeting, or they would call all the students in, and they would have an intensive seminar, a 15-hour seminar on various topics. So they called me in for marriage. I'm thinking to myself, marriage, any scholar can talk for 15 hours on marriage. But they gave me the topic of zakat, and I was sitting with these interesting group of people. Sacred Learning, it was all doctors and lawyers. All doctors and lawyers, all dressed exactly the same type of beard, same type of haircut, right? There was about 20 or 30 of them, so I had 15 hours to sit with them. And now I had to look for topics to cover, so there are many aspects of it, but 14 to 15 hours of discussion on zakat. So I think going back in time, we today, unfortunately, our perception of zakat is completely skewed. Right? As the Prophet Muhammad said, a time will come, ittakhad an-nasu, as some people will look zakat as a tax. Right? We pay income tax anyways, and Muslims here, Islam is also taking a tax from us. Right? So a time will come, that's what's going to happen, but because people will not have the correct mindset or perspective on zakat. Imam Ghazali rahimahullah writes, when it comes time to pay your zakat, among the etiquettes is you don't consider yourself doing a favor on the person you're giving the money to. You consider them to do a favor to you. Because without the poor person, your wealth would not be purified, and you would not be able to fulfill that obligation without that person being there. So, looking back in history, Umar bin Abdulaziz, rahimahullah, the fifth pious Khalifa of Islam, when he became the Khalifa, he was the Khalifa only for Khalifa of Islam for about 2.5 years, that's it. But the impact he made in those 2.5 years, we still feel today. 2.5 years, it was a short period of time, but he changed, he made some major changes. And one of the changes was, during his time, many oppressive types of taxes had kicked in, right? So the Khalifas wanted income, so they, along with zakat, they added on other fines, other forms of taxes, and people had to pay all these extra oppressive taxes. So when he came into power, he sat with the economic advisors, and now he has to think about the treasury, how much money is in the treasury. So he told them, he said, what taxes do we have on the people? So they told him, we have this tax, we have that tax, we have all these taxes. He said, I want to get rid of all the taxes except zakat and jizya. Jizya is the tax non-Muslims pay for living in a Muslim country, and zakat, of course, is the charity that the Muslims give. He said, get rid of all these taxes and just leave these two. So the economic advisors told him, you're crazy if you're going to do this. Right? We're getting all this money in the revenue, in the treasury. Our treasury is going to go to zero. We're going to go bankrupt. That's it. He said no. He said no. He said these two forms of payment, they're authorized in Islamic law. Jizya and zakat. All these other payments we're taking in, we're not authorized to take them. Get rid of them and let's see what happens. So one of the most interesting incidents that ever happened. Right? You also have to understand during the Khilafat of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, Muslims Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. So revenue and income is coming from all over the Muslim world. But he got rid of all these other extra taxes, and a time came where he had zakat money was there, and a person would travel throughout the Muslim world, there wasn't one person to accept zakat. So one of the objectives of zakat is to eliminate poverty completely. And without going into a lot of detail, really, if you knew what I knew, as the Prophet Muhammad said, if you knew what I knew, you would laugh less and you would cry more. Probably the first time in the history of the Muslim world, zakat has been misused this badly. In America, literally millions of dollars of zakat we're misusing, it's going to the wrong people. I don't think ever before in history has something like this happened. My friend was the Imam in Chico. He told them, he said, look, I'm coming in as the Imam. Please, I'm not deserving of zakat. Don't do this desi 2-in-1 and give me zakat money from, give me my salary from zakat money. He told them, don't give me my income from zakat money. I'm not eligible for zakat. So he literally gets a check. On top it says zakat money. And then they scratched off the name and they put his name there. So his income is coming from zakat money. And unfortunately, that was here in California. When he was the Imam in Seattle, same thing happened to him. Right? So the amount of zakat money that's being misused, wallahi, it's scary. The fact that Allah's punishment has not come down yet, we're very lucky. And to make things even worse, already millions of dollars of zakat money is being misused. And the American fatwa of American Islam, you can use zakat money for political campaigns. Yeah, just shoot me already, bro. Zakat money for political campaigns, right? Already, we don't realize, mashallah, in Novato Masjid, they've started off an initiative for giving zakat locally. This is also something we need to talk about. First thing we think of is zakat money, we want to send the money overseas. Yes, I'm not saying that they're not deserving people overseas, but the first thing we think of is sending money overseas. Zakat is meant for local community first. So this dedicated group of, mashallah, sisters mostly, they collect zakat money, they vet out the applicants, and they distribute the zakat money directly locally. And they've been doing so for about 7 to 8 years. Right? If anyone's interested, Islamic Center of North Marin, zakat, you can look up online. Right? They've been doing this for a number of years. This is something we need to think about as well. But this zakat money being misused, wallahi, it scares me. I don't know how to explain it to you. It scares me. Right? Money that should be going to certain individuals, it's not getting to those individuals. Right? And zakat it's meant for the poorest of the poor. It's meant for the people who are most in need. And unfortunately, that it's not reaching them at all. Right? And it's so scary. Right? In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ وَالْمَسَاكِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lists the 8 categories of recipients of zakat. And within those categories, some still exist and some don't exist. But again, the scary things you'll see in America, American Islam, you'll see organizations, we meet all 8 categories. I'm like, 2 of those categories are defunct, they're gone. How do you claim that you qualify for all 8 of those categories? But this is, again, that mindset. I will say, I'm not going to go into as much detail, but generally our communities are traditional and we're sheltered from a lot. We don't realize what's going on. We're sheltered from a lot of things, but that mindset is slowly spreading. That mindset is slowly spreading. Right? Of giving zakat to everyone, organizations using zakat for administrative costs. Right? Also, think about it. It's highly unethical and problematic. You're out there showing slides of poor people in different parts of the world, and you're taking 20% administrative costs? What is that, bro? That money's supposed to go to those people. You're advertising, collect money, we're collecting money for these poor people here, and 20% you're using for your own administrative costs. Again, right? Where's the honesty in that? Where's the ethics of that? But this is the norm. Right? Almost every single charity organization in America is misusing zakat. Almost every single charity organization in America is using zakat money for administrative costs. And right, that's, I don't want to say much more, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. Right? A famous Muslim influencer, he collected $7 million online for Muslims overseas. From the 7 million, he took 2 million. He took $2 million. Right? You're telling people, we're raising money for people overseas, and you're taking 2 out of 7, right? You're taking more than 20% of the money yourself, right? What's going on? But unfortunately, this is becoming the new norm. Right? I've participated in fundraisers. Wallahi, I don't understand it. Right? There are big slides out there showing pictures of people, poor people from different parts of the world. The fundraiser, he's out there stirring people up, right? And the fundraiser himself is going to take 30% of the total proceeds. How can we justify this? How is this allowed? The sad thing is, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed person is the king. We ourselves don't know what's going on. Otherwise, really, if we were, okay, I would make a joke, but it's a bad joke and it'll probably rub people the wrong way. But at least in some of our masjids, if the guy is out there and try to take 30% of the proceeds, someone would beat him down first. Right? I would prefer that over the sin the person would get for taking 30% of the money and taking it home. And unfortunately, I know some of these individuals, and wallahi, it's really sad. How can they sleep at night? I don't understand it. But why I mention it, unfortunately, this is becoming the new norm. And our communities, like the topic that people dislike the most is zakat. No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to learn about it. It's considered the most boring topic, right, Shabazz? Okay, I'm messing around. So I've spent 9 years of my life teaching here. So I will say, mashallah, want to thank the board members. It feels like a new masjid. And I will say this as well. Right? I come here only after every few years. Wallahi, I feel without Brother Harun here, it's not normal. I'm having a tough time. But, yeah. But my students will remember Mufti Thaqalain, the teacher of the humans and jinns, right? I remember I just went upstairs just to see, right? Our class would sit near that door, and wallahi, in the middle of class, the door would just open, right? And I would tell the students, Assalamu alaikum, come in, jinn student, come here. We have space for you. So we talk about this. We joke around. Islamic Center of San Francisco has its own jinns, and some of them are also students as well. So there's a lot to say about zakat. Easier, right? We should pick one date in the Islamic calendar and stick to that every year. In fact, the actual date should be the day you become baligh. Then 1 year in the lunar calendar after that, that should be the day you start paying zakat as a Muslim. Right? So the actual rule is you take a note of the day you become baligh in the Islamic year, for example, the 5th of Shaban. Then every year in the 5th of Shaban, that's your zakat date, right? But then you wait 1 year, so once you become baligh, you say, do you have the minimum cash? Then you wait 1 year after that, and then you start paying zakat from that 1 year afterwards. But that date is the date every year we should be paying zakat. Now, I don't know how this happened. 99% of Muslims, they're paying their zakat in Ramadan. Bro, all of us did not become baligh in Ramadan, bro. I don't know what's going on. All of us could not have become baligh in Ramadan. So, for whatever reason, this desi mentality is, in a way it's good. Rewards are higher in Ramadan, let's all pay our zakat in Ramadan. That doesn't make a lot of sense as well. If you ask the organizations, right, I'm sure you guys are getting a lot of fundraising requests as well, right? They're getting, when all the charity and all the zakat is being given in Ramadan. So that doesn't make a lot of sense, but at the day you're supposed to be giving it, not just Ramadan. Right? Unfortunately, I'm in the same boat as well. Right? I don't know the day I become baligh, and all my zakat has been given since I was a child. All my zakat has been given in Ramadan. I'm in the same boat as well. But hopefully the next generation, it's something that you guys can work on changing, and it makes a lot more sense. There's needy people throughout the year, not just Ramadan. Right? We're giving all charity, we're giving all our zakat in Ramadan. Right? How do you spread it out throughout the year? But anyway, so to make things easier, once you have your date, what you're going to do is on that day, it's a financial snapshot of the assets that you have. So how much money do you have in your bank? How much gold do you have? How much silver do you have? How much gold and silver jewelry do you have? Right? Then you take a look at your other possessions, your 401k, your investments, your cryptocurrency, money in the bank, and you take a look at your net worth, and then you subtract your liabilities, you subtract your debt, and you take 2.5% of that, roughly. So that's going to be the procedure for calculating things, but on that day, right, on that day. So that simplifies a lot of things, because that day, whatever the values are on that day, you're gonna take a look at. So stick to that one date, right? It should be on the Islamic calendar of the year, the lunar calendar of the year, not on the solar calendar year, and stick to that date every year. So zakat on jewelry, right? On gold jewelry, there is a difference of opinion. Most of us sitting here are Hanafis. So just to simplify, women should be giving zakat on gold jewelry. Right? And men, if you have any gold as well, you should be paying zakat on that. Yeah, so then 401ks, right? So that's also interesting discussion as well. So the American Fiqh Academy has published a research paper. It's available online. Type in American Fiqh Academy 401k, right? The summary is you pay zakat on your entire portfolio on the 401k. You will not subtract out taxes. You will not subtract out penalties. You pay zakat on the full amount. But now, the common problem, mashallah, may Allah bless the brothers, mashallah, who have been working for 15, 20 years. Some of them, mashallah, 7 or 8 figures in their 401ks. Now, paying zakat every year might be a challenge, right? We're talking about $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. It might be a challenge. So make a note of that. Make a note of your zakat payment every year. And once you cash out, once you retire, go back in time and give the zakat amount out. If you have, inshallah, if you have the cash, no problem. Pay the zakat right now. But if it's difficult, this happens with a lot of women that have gold as well, right? The value of gold is so high that paying zakat on it every year, right? It can be tens of thousands of dollars. MashaAllah, it's a good problem to have, but the zakat on gold could be a large amount. So again, make a note of it, right? Make sure it's written down somewhere properly, and when you cash out, when you sell that gold or silver, then pay it off. Pay off the zakat of the previous years and calculate it. Make sure it's paid off before you pass away. And make sure that, as I said, your relatives, your surviving relatives know how much zakat you paid, and if there isn't any zakat paid off, make a note of it. Yeah. So that's a summary. The 401ks, as I said, the challenge is making sure you pay every year and making sure you pay on a regular basis. The scholars say, as long as you pay all your zakat before you pass away, you will not be sinful. You don't want it to be completely slipped off, and there's, for example, 3 years in your life you didn't pay zakat, because it's a headache to go back and have to calculate what your zakat was for 10 years ago. Right? It's going to be a challenge. How much money did you have? How much gold did you have? Right? It's going to be a challenge. So make a note of it and try to make sure before you pass away, and preferably after you retire, all your zakat in your life is paid off. Okay, so that's a summary. There are different opinions out there. So I'm going to clarify some of the common issues. Zakat on shares. For whatever reason, Gujaratis have this mindset, I don't know where it comes from, that there's no zakat on stocks and shares. I don't know who gave this fatwa, how long ago. Right? I've been dealing with this for 15 years. Right? So I don't know who told them this. There's no zakat on shares. Right? Shares are a type of wealth. You can cash them out today. Right? If you have money in your bank account, you can withdraw $15,000. You have $50,000 in stocks, you can cash it out whenever you want. So what's the difference between $15,000 in your bank account and $50,000 in your Robinhood account. Right? You can cash it out whenever you want. So Mufti Taqi Usmani, his fatwa is zakat is payable on shares. One of his students has written an entire book on it. Yes, the one possibility, I will mention this as a disclaimer, there are two ways to calculate zakat on shares. Now, one of them is if a person has a specific investment strategy of investing in dividends. With all due respect, right? Investing in dividends is a old school thing. Right? I doubt any of the new generation cares about dividends or pays attention to the dividends. But yes, there is a different way to calculate zakat if your full investing strategy is only to invest in dividends. So, vast majority of us, 95% of us, right, 99% of us, if you're investing in the stock market, you're investing for capital gains. Right? You want to make money, you want to find the next GameStop. Right? That's what people are looking for. So if that's your goal, if that's your objective, yes, you'll calculate zakat based on the value of your portfolio and take 2.5% of that. Yes, if you're investing in dividends, it's a more complicated procedure. If anyone is investing in dividends, inshallah, I'll share that information with you separately. It's a little bit more complicated. Yeah. So those are some of the common issues. Let me think. Okay. Zakat on debts. Zakat on debts, and more specifically long-term debts. Right? So that's also a personal decision. Do we feel comfortable locking ourselves in to a 30-year loan? Right? So there's many aspects to consider. Are we going to live for 30 more years? Are we going to be working for 30 more years? So there's some important issues to consider. Right? Do you wish to buy a house or not? Right? How long is the period going to be? And you're going to be locked in for 30 years. You're going to be making payments. But now, how do we factor in that long-term loan into our zakat amount? Right? So one argument is you take the full amount. If you take the full amount, almost no one is going to be paying zakat, right? Because the full amount, your assets might be $20,000, your long-term loan is $500,000. No one's going to be paying zakat. So what the scholars write, they differentiate between a long-term loan and a short-term loan. So short-term loan is payable in the immediate year or so. Long-term loan, the payments you're going to be making in 25 years, right? No one's asking about them right now. So the priority of those long-term loans, the 25th year of payments you're going to make, it's lower in priority, so you don't have to worry about it right now. So what the scholars write, Mufti Zubair Butt from England, he's one of the top students of Mufti Taqi Usmani, and I would argue, in my opinion, I've met him, I would argue he's much more senior than Mufti Muhammad bin Adam Kothri. Mufti Muhammad bin Adam Kothri visited our masjid a few times. He visited America a few times. Mufti Zubair Butt is an expert in Islamic finance, right? And I rely on him more. So the fatwa that he's given is, you don't subtract, right? If you have a $500,000 loan payable off 30 years, you don't subtract the full amount. What you do is you subtract the short-term amount. The next 12 payments that you're going to make in the upcoming year, you can subtract that, but you can't subtract the whole 30-year payment or the 30-year loan. So you look at the next 12 months and you subtract that from your zakatable amount. Okay, and cryptocurrency also should be pretty straightforward as well, right? Cryptocurrency you can cash out when you want. I hope no Dogecoin or Trump coins here, you guys. So cryptocurrency should also be pretty straightforward. I will say it's kind of interesting. Some masjids, right, for their annual fundraiser, they say you can give cryptocurrency too. Right? They accept donations in cryptocurrency. So I don't think Islamic Center is at that level yet. Well, you guys do? Okay. I underestimated you guys. Very good, mashallah. Mashallah. That's good. That's a good sign, mashallah. Okay, last joke. I have to make this joke. I've been told, make sure you see the bathrooms and take a video for us to see if the bathrooms are real. So, okay. So I'm supposed to go and touch them and make sure that they're real. Okay, it's a joke, you guys. Don't take that one personally. Yeah. But I will say it's kind of sad. Things change over time. But I run into more Islamic Center people in Fremont than I do here in Islamic Center. Right? So the challenge is when I go to Fremont, when I go to Hayward, right, I'm running into all these guys. I'm like, what are you guys doing here? Oh, we moved here. I'm like, when do you move here? But all the Islamic Center people, all my old friends, except a few are for left, but unfortunately almost my whole friend group moved out. Then Tracy, Fremont, Dublin, mashallah, in a way it's a good sign. But I look at things differently, so I have my gripes. Right? Why do I have my gripes? Because many of them are now leaders of the community. They're running masjids. Right? They didn't help out while they were here, but they're running masjids over there. But anyways, you guys, that's how I feel. I'm just sharing with you guys how I feel. What I feel isn't necessarily right. But it's sad, mashallah, a lot of the youth and a lot of that talent, they're away from Islamic Center in San Francisco. They're doing positive things. It's just my heart is, I wish they would have done more over here. But that's how I feel. I can't change how I feel, but inshallah, don't judge me for how I feel.